Coming up, we have a unique twist on crescent rolls and ham and broccoli and an awesome dessert. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne.
And on today's show, we have a recipe that was finally submitted by Aunt Carla, your youngest sister.
Finally.
We know she cooks.
Yes, she does.
But she finally submitted something for us to cook on the show for everyone else.
That's right.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, and you know, Carla likes taking some recipes and adding her own twist to it. She's good at that. So, but this is quite an easy recipe to do because you start with crescent rolls for the crust. So that doesn't take very long. And we're just going to lightly spray our pan here. And we're going to put those crescent rolls on there. I'll let you open that one there. Have a race here, huh?
Yes. My daughter Addison loves the dough of crescent rolls.
Okay, but we're not going to separate them.
Okay.
Like that. So we did preheat the oven to 375. That's what that's going to be for that. So. Okay, but we'll just unroll them. Kind of just put them on your pan like this, because we're going to kind of press the edges together a little bit.
All right.
And then we can put that one probably the lengthways there.
Okay.
And let's just put both of those on that end. Okay, let's just kind of work them together here a little bit, because we're going to add this ham mixture on top of it. So we want to, you know, so it doesn't leak through.
Okay. Okay, didn't cover quite the entire pan, but that's all right.
And that's fine, because actually what we're going to be doing is we're going to, I'm going to make some little slits on the sides, so when we put the filling down the middle, we bring up the crescent rolls, the edges together.
Okay, kind of like a loaf.
That's right. So I'm going to get my pizza cutter here, and I'm going to just cut probably about 2 inches strips. I might have to take a knife there and cut a little bit on the very edges.
Okay.
But we're just okay. So we got that. But I'm going to just take a knife here and just cut.
You want to cut it all the way to the edge of the pan is what you're talking about.
That's right. We want to cut it all the way to the edge. Okay, so we have our dough ready to go. So we're going to start. I got about a 1/4 pound of chopped ham.
Okay.
You know, I just had made a ham, and some of the leftovers and that I just cut into small pieces there. And then it asks for about 2.5 cups of chopped broccoli.
Okay.
And you can use fresh broccoli, or actually what I did here was I used the frozen, just the florets.
Okay.
And that, because if you use fresh broccoli, you kind of almost want to steam it a little bit beforehand anyway. So, you know, either fresh or frozen broccoli is going to work. So,
okay.
Then it asks for 6 ounces of shredded Swiss cheese.
Okay.
Now, you don't find shredded cheese, Swiss cheese. I've never found it. So I had just the slices, and they're very easy to just cut and just to kind of shred them. You know, I just made small little slivers with that, and it worked really well.
Well, it's a little bit thicker cheese. It's easy to cut.
It is. And you can use regular onion, but I like the green onion.
Okay.
I just used, it's probably about a 1/3 cup of onion here.
Okay.
And I always got to get the last drop out of there. And one of the ingredients that Carla added to this recipe, and she says they like it so well and the family likes it so well, is water chestnuts. Chop them. Gives it a little bit of different flavor, a little crunch in there and stuff. And she
Definitely.
says that really adds to that. So that was one of her twists that she added to this.
Okay.
And then we're going to put in a can of cream of chicken soup.
Okay.
So we'll get that in there.
So in this, you have your meat, you have your vegetables. So this is a meal all in one little neat little wrapped up crescent roll.
Yes, it is. It's just something nice that you can plan ahead, and it takes about 25 minutes to bake. So it doesn't take long. A lot of times over the weekend, maybe you don't want to really have to cook a lot, but you still have to feed your family. So you make put something like this together that's quick and easy, and when you don't have to make your dough, and that works really well.
Definitely.
So we just want to mix this up here. And your soup, it has salt in it already. Your ham is got salt. Your Swiss cheese, and that. So this is one that we don't add any salt to at all.
Okay.
And if you like, you certainly can add a little pepper if you so choose. But you don't have to worry about seasoning it any more than what your ingredients are. And just blend that good there. And then we're just going to spoon that down, right down the middle of that.
Okay.
Our dough here. So it does make quite a bit.
It does. This would be great as an appetizer or at functions you might go to. Great for, the Super Bowl is past, but this would have been a great appetizer for our Super Bowl party.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because, we got those little strips in there, and we're going to braid this or just kind of bring it together, and it just gives a nice presentation of it.
Certainly.
Okay. So we're going to just kind of even that out a little bit.
Yeah, this does make quite a bit.
Yeah. And with my broccoli, it says 2.5 cups of chopped broccoli, but when I had it, it was 2 cups, and I thought that looks like more than enough.
Oh, sure, there's plenty here.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring it here, and we're going to just kind of bring up those edges here and just twist that together and pinch it together. It's going to braid it. And so actually, too, when you slice it, it gives you a nice, pieces, where to cut with that. So,
sure.
Well, we've brought our edges up and just kind of twisted it a little bit to make it a little bit of a braid. But I think Carla does a lot better job than I did here, but it's going to taste good too.
It will.
So we're going to put it in the oven. Like I said, we preheated it to 375 for 25 minutes. Okay. And we'll set that timer there. Okay, now we're ready to start on our dessert. We've got our crescent roll loaf in the oven, so we're making chocolate mousse.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Doesn't it though? Okay, we're going to start over here, and we're going to use a double boiler, and I've got water in the bottom, and I've just got that more or less just steaming. You don't want it, the recipe says you don't want a rolling boil with the water or whatever. It needs to do it slowly, melting. What we're going to do is we're going to put 2 teaspoons of butter, actually it's tablespoons of butter.
Okay.
In there, and then it asks for 4.5 ounces of like bitter chocolate. And I just got the baker's chocolate here, and you know, they're little squares. There was 8 squares in here, so I know that each square is an ounce. So I used 4 and then 1.5. So that
Okay.
made it really easy. You know, it does say, you know, unsweetened or bitter chocolate, but I think you could get by with a, you know, semi-sweet chocolate. And as I was kind of cutting up this chocolate here, I thought, how nice, you know, those little mini chocolate chips that you buy,
Yes.
that you can get, how easy that would be. It's not quite as bitter or, you know, a little sweeter, but it's not that much. And I think you could use that and get away with that and be very good also. So we're going to put that, and so that butter in there. And I'm going to just have it on quite low. So, well, this is starting to melt, and we're going to want to watch that pretty carefully. It asks for, you know, a couple of teaspoons of espresso.
Okay.
Well, how many of us are going to have espresso in hand? You can easily substitute just granulated coffee. And I've got, and I even got decaffeinated, so you're not going to have all this caffeine in this chocolate on top of that. So we're going to add 2 teaspoons of, you know, just granulated coffee in there.
But it's quite a bit more concentrated than if you would just take a, say like a half cup or a quarter cup of just regular brewed coffee.
Oh, absolutely. And you don't want the liquid.
Okay.
You know, you're adding liquid if you have the brewed coffee, you know.
Okay.
So you want the dry, the granulated there. So
Okay.
you can already see it doesn't take very long to melt. And you don't want to get it too hot, because then when you put the egg yolks in there and all that, it kind of sets up too quickly. It's not,
Okay.
you don't
This
get the
isn't something
fluffiness.
that you're going to substitute, try, you know, do it quickly in the microwave or anything then?
I wouldn't do that. This is a little bit of touchier, and so I would definitely do it in your double boiler.
Okay.
So while that's doing that, I'm going to add a cup of heavy whipping cream, and we want to get that whipped.
Okay.
So we're going to whip that up here.
These are one of the desserts that we just don't count those calories.
That's right. Not too much calories there. Okay, I finished whipping the cream, and I transferred it into another bowl. And you just want the cream in soft peaks like this.
Okay.
So I think our chocolate is done. So I'm going to go over there and just get that. And you just want, let that cool, just that, you know, they say a little bit above body temperature.
Okay.
And, you know, you can just put your finger in there, and they say just put your finger in there and just kind of put it to your lip. And if it feels comfortable, then it's ready to go. Because this is where you don't want it too hot, because then the yolk will kind of
Cook a little bit.
cook a little bit, right? And we just want it to blend
Let's
it in
sit
there.
a little bit there before we put it to our lips.
Okay, all right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to separate 3 eggs,
Okay.
and we need to whip the egg whites and the egg yolks. And again, there, I think we talked about this on a previous show. Always make sure you have fresh eggs, because now this is not going to get baked.
Okay.
Whatever you have your egg yolks in there. So we'll just put that in there.
Are we using the egg yolks at all in this recipe?
Yes, the egg yolks are going to go in here.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to use the whole egg. And again, you know, try not to touch, you know, your inside of the egg too much with your shell. Get that separated there. Oh,
We'll get
well,
it.
yeah,
It didn't break.
I think we'll just use a spoon for that and not try to get it out with the shell. There we go. Okay, so we're going to put this here, and we're going to beat the egg whites until it's a soft, you know, soft peaks in there. And then we add like 2 tablespoons of sugar to that, and then we start folding in you know, the yolk and the cream and the egg whites together.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's check the egg whites. Okay, they're holding their peak to that. So we're going to just put in a tablespoon of sugar.
Okay.
And we're going to blend that up yet, mix that up a little bit. And
Now, the one thing that I always kind of get confused on when it comes to adding sugar is when you should be adding a granulated sugar or adding,
they say confectioner's sugar, right?
it's powdered sugar to me.
That's right. And it sure would be a lot easier if they just said powdered sugar instead of confectioner's sugar.
Yes.
Because that, yeah, it does. It makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Now, do I have the right or not? And so if it usually says just sugar, you know it's granulated, or, you know, they'll say granulated sugar too. But when it's powdered sugar, they'll definitely say confectioner's sugar.
Okay.
Otherwise, when the recipe says sugar,
You just use sugar.
it's just white sugar, yes. Oh. Well, I think that looks pretty well beaten. Holds its peak. It's holding its peaks really nice. So we'll take that out. Now we're going to add our egg yolks to our chocolate, but let's just double check it here. Okay, yeah, that's about right. You know, when I just put my finger in there, I can tell that, you know, it's warm enough. I mean, or it's not
cooled
too
off.
Yes, it's cool enough, cool, and it's not going to set up the yolks when we put the yolks in there.
Okay.
So you can just add the yolks all at once. Okay, yeah, we'll just blend that in there.
And it's just amazing how, you know, you have to do these in the steps that the recipe tells you to, because if you didn't, it just
Right, yes. And you
wouldn't
know,
quite turn out.
yeah, the eggs, you know, being there, they're cool. It does set up the chocolate a little bit there. But the yolks, you know, have not, you know, like I said, you got too warm in it, they would kind of cook a little bit. So we're going to add that to this bowl here. I'm going to just transfer it here.
It did get really quite thick.
Yeah, it goes quickly. How much time do we have on our crescent loaf there?
It looks like we have about 4 minutes left.
4 minutes. Okay, that might just beat us here before we're done with this. We're going to add about 1/3 cup of our whipped cream here.
Okay.
And just fold that in gently there. And being we're going to fold it more than we don't really want to be whipping it, I'm going to just use the spatula instead of the wire whisk.
Sure. Yep, that chocolate's loosening up really nice.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long at all. Like I said, certainly you don't want it too hot, but you don't want to let it get really cold, because then too it's going to set up too fast and it won't work well there. So now we're going to add about 1/2 of our egg whites in here.
Okay.
And just do the same and just fold that here.
Really light and airy makes that.
It does.
And then we just repeat the steps until all the mixtures mix together.
Yes. Okay, so it doesn't take too long. It sounds like a recipe that's going to take a while, but it doesn't take just too long. They say average prep time is maybe about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we're going to just add the rest of the whipped cream in here. And I'll also just blend that.
And I think our crescent roll is about ready to come out of the oven too.
Oh, okay. Heard that oven beep there. And then we'll check it to see that's nicely browned in there.
Okay.
Okay, we have that. in there. Now let's add the rest of our egg whites.
The one thing I like about chocolate mousse is it's just a dessert that's it's rich, but it's light. It's not so heavy.
Absolutely.
Especially if
yeah.
you are going to have a little bit bigger meal.
And that's why I don't think you want to use like a milk chocolate or whatever. You could probably, like I said, you buy with semi-sweet chocolate, but I don't think you want to use the, milk chocolate like that. So,
Yep.
Well, let's check our crescent ham roll and see what that looks like.
Okay.
Get my hands there, and oh, that looks like it's browned very nicely. Let's just pull it out of the oven there and see. Okay, I think that
looks great.
looks really well. What I want to do, I'm going to just take a spatula and I'm going to just pick it up underneath to make sure that's browned nicely there. And it has. So that is done. So we'll just leave that set a moment. And you can just see how that Swiss cheese melted in there, and that it just looks really good.
All right.
And let's fold that up here.
Well, looking good. This is another great meal that I think pretty much everybody in the family will enjoy.
Absolutely. I think the family just might increase when they see us cooking like this. Huh?
It's too cold to go for a run outside right now.
That's it, right. Well, I get lots of offers from viewers that they would be happy to taste and take some of it off of my hands.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. Now let's just set that aside here. And we're just going to fill some dessert cups here. And you can just see it's just nice and light and fluffy. And it depends upon how big you want to make your portions. You should be able to get 4 pretty, well, what I want to say, large portions, or you can certainly get like 6 out of this easily if you didn't want to make too big of a portions.
You just have a little bit less ham roll and have a little bit more dessert. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good, huh? All right. I think we've got some pretty good sized cups here. Let's just fill them up here.
Sure.
Rather than, like I said, it says from 4 to 5, servings. And that certainly is, it looks like a lot, but it's light. So it really isn't going to...
it won't fill you up too much.
You'll have room for it. That I'll guarantee you. Okay, I'll just finish there. And then this should set up for several hours in your fridge before you serve this.
Okay. This is something a good thing probably just to make the night before. Pop in the ham roll when you get home from work, and
absolutely.
Dinner on the table at 6.
Anything we're going to make. So let's put that in the fridge and we'll check out the ham roll and let's see, then go from there. Okay.
Sounds great.
I'm actually going to just take 2 of those and just to put on here. And, just to show you, how nice that looks in there and stuff, so.
Sure does.
And I have one of those, couple of the mousse that I previously made, so we're going to get those out of the fridge, bring them over here. Now you can eat it like this without adding anything to it, but I think just garnishing it with a little bit of whipped cream makes it look pretty. And I have some blackberries here.
Perfect.
So, just garnish that a little bit on the top there. Make it look pretty, raspberries, strawberries, whatever's in season and what you just may have, in your fridge. And I mean, it's always nice to have the fresh, but you certainly can use the frozen too. So
Definitely.
now does that not look like something you just want to dig into?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Well, I'll have to definitely call Aunt Carla and tell her that this is a recipe that I'm going to be making at my house.
It's a keeper.
It is. To go get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you on Cooking Crave as well. Thank you so much to the Workshop as our sponsor. Have a great day, everyone.